Alrighty, guys. I made a pretty messy episode a few days ago about side hustle stuff, about I guess like bringing in a few bucks through side hustles. So I wanted to talk about Uber Eats. I did not do a lot today, but I did what I could kind of do. So let me explain. So I logged into Uber around, well, this is Uber Eats, not like Uber driving people, but Uber delivering food. I just realized I'm going the wrong way. It's alright. I started Uber Eats around 1:50 something today and ended around 5:30 something today. So it was almost 2 o'clock and ended around 5:30 was the last thing I dropped off. Orders were getting slow. Well, restaurants were getting slow. I'm noticing a lot of places like McDonald's, El Pollo Loco, a lot of these spots are completely understaffed. Sometimes you only see like 3 people in there, maybe 4, and they're moving fast. But there was a place where they even had to say, hey, why don't you go ahead and, like, they were telling people, go ahead and use the kiosk or whatever that thing is where you do like the self ordering. And so people had to use that because it was taking too long. They were short staffed. And so that was kind of, it takes a while, when you're at a place where you're waiting like that. I went to Every Table as well. That place had me waiting for like 10 minutes or so. There are a lot of places that I notice sometimes when you go, they're almost never ready. So I usually just stay in the car and wait for a second, and that's when I do all my, I write in the mileage and everything. I started writing in the timestamps though of like how long certain places are taking, or how long it took, between this and that, because it's really hard to know. But I think, other than getting gas once, I think I was pretty much logged in online, with the exception of maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so. I didn't make a lot. I made 50 off of, technically it was 3 orders, but 2 of them were stacked, so it was like 5. I was online, like I said, at 1:54 or so p.m. This is Sunday. And during that time, I left the house. I went and got gas. I went to UPS to do an Amazon return. And I didn't get any orders. I think I went to CVS because I left the house and didn't really realize I was kind of feeling a little bit foggy there. And I was like, oh man, but I was a little far from the house by the time I realized it, and I was like, I kind of want to feel a little sharper. So I went to CVS. I was gonna get a NeuroGum, but they didn't have it there. They have it at the other CVS where I usually go, but I was like, well, I'll just get a Red Bull. I like NeuroGum because when I'm driving, it's gum, but it's caffeinated, and I kind of like that better than having I prefer to have, caffeinated gum versus like a beverage, because beverages, you're like sipping them all the time and stuff. And so it's a little bit like annoying to be like, sipping a drink. It's kind of annoying to be sipping on stuff. And so I don't really like that. Um, the Amazon item that I returned was $13.99. I spent about $3 and something on the Red Bull. I spent about $16 in gas, getting cheap gas, the 87 gas, and cheap, like, not even name brand, not even like Arco gas. It was like these other places. And I've got about, well, on the amount that I used for Ubering, I think I used 13. I'm calculating the miles I drove on that gas. Let's call it about 13 miles and 11 miles or so, or 12 miles or so. Let's call it about 25 miles I drove off of $16 worth of gas. And so I really didn't drive a lot today. That really wasn't a whole lot of driving, especially for LA. It's not a lot. But for the amount of time, it's like almost 2 to 5:30. It's almost like 3 hours I drove 11 miles. Like a little, wait, did I do that right? It would be like 2 to 3. 2 o'clock, 3, 4. That's like 3.5 hours or so. If I count the time that I stopped for the gas, you know, if I subtract that out, it really was about 3.5 hours driving, to be driving like 25 or so miles, and to be spending like $16 in gas. And this car gets such bad gas mileage. I thought I calculated it before, and I thought this car was getting 20 miles to the gallon. I really think it's closer to like 10 to 13 miles to the gallon. Like, it's not good. Like, probably 10 on the low end. Maybe I could say, like, if there's some room for error, maybe like 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there. But it's not 20 at all. It's about half of that. And so, because 20 is what I was undershooting, just so that I could estimate correctly. But I was thinking, I was like, why am I spending so much on gas? But from the last Uber delivery that I dropped off, I've got about 20 more miles I can drive on the amount that I spent on the gas. And so the next time I go out, when it's Monday, I'm probably going to be driving delivery. I'm trying to make up the amount in the gas, making sure that I'm making up that amount. So every time I drive, I'm at least not breaking even on gas. I'm at least, you know, padding my wallet for the expense of the gas, and then predicting how much I have to have for the next gas. I don't fill this tank because it's like, I'm not the only one who drives this car, and it costs so much gas. And sometimes my dad drives this car, and when he's in town, if there's a full tank of gas, he will literally drive all the gas away and won't. Like, he'll sometimes put more in it, but he really drives everywhere. And it's like, I like to just know that the gas that I'm using is literally almost always just for Ubering. And I try to subtract out, or at least make up, any other gas that I spend, because it's such an expensive, you know, it's an expensive car to drive. It's not really worth it trying to Uber in this car, to tell you the truth. It's just like, I mean, there is profit to be made, so I feel like it literally is like a side hustle style of earnings, because the gas mileage is so bad. Like, making $50 isn't that bad, considering that that's before Prop 22 earnings. Because if local minimum wage is like $16.50 or so, I should be getting I think they say you add 25% to the minimum wage, so I should be getting more than $16.50 per hour. So I'm not really good at doing that kind of math in my head, but it's not the most complex of math. I'm just personally not good at doing it in my head. I'm kind of tired too, and like I said, I was kind of foggy today, and I just don't want to drink more caffeine because I'm like already pretty caffeinated. But I'm gonna work out tonight. I've been working out in the morning, but I'm gonna work out tonight. So I'm hoping that's gonna help with the energy. I'm hoping this isn't gonna disrupt my sleep. That's kind of the main thing that I'm thinking right now. I'm like, I really hope that I'm not like having my sleep disrupted because of this. But who knows? You can't really say what's gonna happen for sure. But yeah. So I pulled over and looked at the app and did the math. So basically, I should be getting total for today. Well, 20% of the 1650 of the city minimum wage is $3.30, and so for 3.5 hours I should be getting like $69.30. I made 50. And that's before the gas mileage reimbursement part. And so I should be getting back about $19.30 for today on Thursday, as well as whatever I did last Sunday. So I mean, the Prop 22 earnings, when you add those, it's like you're definitely making more than you're spending on gas. Like, I don't think anyone's car is going to get much worse gas mileage than this one. Like, if it does, it's like you really, like 10 miles to the gallon is bad, especially if you have a newer car. Like, a lot of the older cars or maybe trucks and stuff like that might be like 18, 19, 20. This is an SUV, so it makes sense, and it's like a 2006, and so it's a 2006 Murano. It's got issues with retaining oil and steering fluid, and it's got some leaks sometimes. It's not like terrible leaks though, but that's something I have to put into the cost as well. Like, I always keep well stocked in steering fluid and oil. I always just keep it in the back of the car, so I've always kind of got access to it, so that I can use it if I need to. I get these bottles off of Amazon, and I got probably a pack of 6. I can't remember how much it cost. It was sometime in 2024. This was so many months ago, and I haven't gone through the whole box yet. I feel like it either used to leak worse, or I used to just be refilling it more, but I also haven't been driving as much as I was before, so I don't really know. Gas prices over here, they're about $4.25, $4.35 on the cheap end. I saw about $5.25, $5.35 probably on the higher end. So it's not cheap. Gas is not cheap, but that's kind of half the problem, is that gas isn't cheap. But to say that, I guess the issue too, with Uber Eats, every time you go to cash out your money, if you do it right away, you've got a fee of $1.25. Every time you go, and you can cash it up to a certain amount per day. I try not to do it more than once a day. Sometimes I might end up doing it twice, but I try not to do it more than once a day. You can set it, I think, once a week to automatically deposit to a specific account. For me, some reason, I haven't been able to do that. I think there's some kind of protection on the new Venmo card that I have that's making it so I can't add. I've noticed I haven't been able to add new cards to it, and I also haven't, does that make sense? I haven't been able to add new cards to that account, and I also haven't been able to add that Venmo account to automatically once a week for free, cash out my my Uber Eats earnings. So, and it's a new card. I think it might have some kind of, I don't know if it has a fraud protection on it. It might, I really don't know. I still need to call Venmo or like contact their customer service or whatever you call it and like see if I can figure that part out. But yeah, there were some expenses on my end, you know, the things that were not necessities. The gas I needed, I didn't need that much gas. I just was like, let me just overshoot in case, you know, I think this gas is probably going to get me through Thursday, up to Thursday. I don't know. I need to calculate really how long how long this is gonna last. But I don't have that many more miles I can drive on it, in all honesty, because I said I stopped at 13 miles. 13 miles driven off of that amount that I put in. The amount that I just put in, and then I'm 6 miles past that now, so I'm at 19 miles now off of like $12 worth of gas. So, and I wrote down how many miles, how many gallons of gas I got. I don't have that off the top of my head, but I have it written down. So I'm trying to do the math on everything and make sure it's evening out. I mean, with this kind of car, it's not really like a life, like something that you could really support yourself on. But as a side hustle, it's worth it as a side hustle. I don't think it's worth it as something you could support yourself on, because there's really just not that much money. These kids are all popping wheelies in the middle of the street. But yeah, it's not really, I don't think it's really worth the money. I had some snowboard gear to sell. I kind of sat on it too long, and now the season's kind of over, so the easy spot to unload my stuff at isn't. I called them today, and they were like, the season's just about done. So they go by the local season, not like Mammoth or places where you could go far. So I was like, okay, not like Mammoth or Tahoe. They consider like Big Bear and stuff like that, which is fine. So they're like, they're not taking new stuff because it's been, it's too late. And so I'm not going to be able to unload that way. I might be able to unload some stuff another way. And then I'm going to try to see if I can like put up on OfferUp. And I'm also trying to get those mystery apartment gigs finished. But let's see how long it takes to get this stuff done. Okay. All right. It's Monday now, so I recorded Sunday, just the general stuff. Today I had to log back in. I had to scan my face on Uber Eats. I'm driving right now, starting. I tried to turn the app on before 11, but it made me take the picture. I tried to do it like around 10:45 or so, but it made me take the picture. So I decided to get ready a little bit first, and I ended up not taking the picture to be able to start turning the app on until like 11:01. And so now it's like 11:25 after I put more steering fluid in the car. If there's a bottle, there's still some steering fluid in that bottle, and then there's another bottle in the back of the car, but I don't know if it's full, so I'm gonna have to check, because if it's not full, that means I'm gonna have to purchase more steering fluid. That lasted me a really long time. Like I said, I got a box of it. I don't know if there were like 5 or 6 bottles. They were cheap bottles, but there were like 5 or 6 of them. And they seem good enough quality. I don't know, I can't really tell any difference between this one and the ones that seem to cost way more. But I don't know, it's been a rainy day randomly in LA today. Don't know why it's not like raining hard, it's like sprinkling, but it's been sprinkling since at least like 6 something in the morning. It's a little misty, so I'm really gonna try not to be taking orders that send me up this hill, because that, is not fun, because it's really foggy up there sometimes, and when you're driving on the side of cliffs that overlook the ocean, it's not all that fun. Or any kind of cliffs like that. Like, I just don't like driving up there, and my phone doesn't work so great up there anyways, so I try not to drive up there, but we'll see. I don't know how much I'm aiming to make today. I didn't even really think it through. Since the time I left the house today, I had about, I've got about 14 miles I think I can spend. It's 14 miles. Oh, before my check engine light comes on again. Let's see. This one's sending me up the hill, but oh no, it's 6 miles, 8 miles. I'm not gonna do this one. Sorry. I just accepted an upside down order, so I'm not gonna do it. So I got a note about having a high cancellation rate, which I don't even really care about. I really don't care that I have a high cancellation rate, because I basically accept them while I'm driving. Like, I'm literally driving right now, so I accept them, and I can't really see like what's going on. And then this McDonald's is super slow, and yeah, it's gonna send me. I'm gonna pull over and see where this thing is trying to send me, but it looks like it's trying to send me. It's for a $5 order. It's either trying to send me 5 or 6 miles, which with this car, $5 gets me about 10 miles, so the round trip is not really going to even out, because once I get up the hill, there aren't that many places that are going to give me orders, so I'm going to have to come back down the hill. So it's going to be about 12 miles round trip, 12 to 16 miles round trip, meaning that I'm, if this car is really this bad at gas, I'm not making a profit on it. Now, if you consider the Prop 22 and maybe an additional tip, I might make money on it. But that's like barely. That's like, I'm not making $5 basically. I'm making less than $5. No matter what the amount is, I'm not breaking even. I'm not making a decent profit. So I don't think I'm really gonna follow through with this one. I'm gonna cancel it. I'm just trying to pull over in a place that will make it easy for me. So I'm pulled over now. I take screenshots when they come in, because sometimes I can't really see. So let me see. According to the screenshot, oh my gosh, I gotta scroll through my screenshots. Did I not take a screenshot? I thought I literally just took a screenshot. I don't see it on here. Let me see. I don't think I took a screenshot, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly what I didn't want. The thing is, you can't really see the details once you've picked something up. And it looks like it's 25 minutes away, so it's definitely far. So I'm gonna end up canceling it because it's just not a good order. Dude, where the heck? I'm trying to see where the button is to cancel it. Let's say I don't want the trip. Cancel. I never feel great about canceling them when I accept, but I'm pretty sure I saw what I saw. Because it looked like it was going to be like 8 miles. I don't think my screenshot took, though. But I'm pretty sure that's what I saw, that it was going to be like 6 miles one way. It either said 6 or 8, and that's the thing. I can't tell while I'm driving. It's like I'm looking at the road, and the roads are wet today. You know, I'm not trying to like have an accident because of Uber Eats. You know, I have a mount for my phone, but it's not. You know, it's. I don't know. Maybe my eyesight's just not great. I don't know. But let me see. To make a profit, basically, if this car is really getting like 10 miles to the gallon or whatever, the round trip. So every 10 miles I drive, I'm going to be paying about $5 in gas, and so that's kind of what it looks like. If that's not about the ratio that I'm getting, it doesn't make that much sense to accept it. Some of them, if it's like, okay, you're not driving uphill and you might be in an area where you might get more orders, that might make more sense. But there's this hilly area over here, kind of near like the Rancho Palos Verdes area, like Rolling Hills area. Like, you don't really get a lot of good orders up there, and like I said, my phone doesn't work up there, but I like to keep my phone on, but I live a little too close to those hills for it to not send me up there all the time. It's trying to send me up there all the time, and I know it I just got that message today that's like, your cancellation rate is higher than most people, because I accept them and then I decline once I see if it's not a good order. But it's like, they're like, you shouldn't do it because it delays things. And I'm like, yeah, it delays things, will pay me more. Like, like 5 isn't bad. It's not terrible, but it's not good. Like, and that McDonald's takes forever. Like, I've waited there for like almost 15 minutes before for like basic stuff. That McDonald's takes way too long. The one thing I forgot to do was to enter my mileage. This car doesn't have that much mileage on it. It's, let me see. So I'm going to put 11:01 a.m. app on. I usually put when the first order came in, and any other notes have, how many miles did I say? It would have been 19, 20, so 14 miles. basically I'm writing down what amount I have to get to. The $12 of gas I put in yesterday. And then let me see, the mileage I'm starting at is, I'm trying to calculate because I've driven a few miles. I've driven a couple miles. So it would be 899.06 is where I'm starting. McDonald's was going to be a $5 order. And that would have been around 11:30 a.m. So I'm declining it due to the hills and low rate. That's just a bad rate. Like, it technically isn't far, but I just feel like there's no way I'm gonna get an order up there. The whole time I've been Ubering, I don't think I've had any orders come from that area, and so I'm not gonna expect that that's gonna happen now. And I just don't want, I don't know, I just don't want it. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me as far as, like, profit. And if there is a profit, if I'm wrong on, like, the Prop 22 and all that, it's really not going to be a worthwhile profit for the stress involved with that area. I just don't like taking orders from up there anyways. But if it was, like, maybe a little better conditions, maybe not that McDonald's, maybe, you know, I've already had some orders coming in, you know, that would be different. But I don't think it's wise to cancel orders. I'm not recommending it. I haven't been able to track if they like, I'm trying to figure out kind of like what system I use that gets me more orders or more benefits, like what kind of moves me forward. So I'm gonna guess, this is my best guess, is that the more often you accept and then cancel, it's probably not gonna put you in like the best standing in the world. That's gonna be my best guess, because they're tracking this stuff. And then they literally sent me the message today, you're supposed to be like under 5% cancellations. So with the 100 orders I've done from whenever they started calculating this, with the 100 orders I've done, I've canceled 7. So now we're starting, you know, this is order number 101. I've already canceled one of one. So is that gonna affect me? Probably. Do I have proof of this? No. But I do know that strangely yesterday on Sunday, which was a non-holiday day, it wasn't bad weather, I wasn't really driving in like a super peak time, there was nothing about it as to why the orders would have paid so much. But yesterday I did notice on average the orders seemed to pay so much more. And so, yeah, they are paying a lot more. And so, yeah, yesterday the orders were paying a lot more. And so, I don't really know why. I got one double order that was like $27. And I was like, okay, it's probably going to be super far. They're both going to be far. One restaurant was across the street from the other one, pretty much, like almost like diagonal across the street. And then the house, like to drive from one drop off to the next drop off, they were both less than 2 miles from the pickup spot, like a mile something from the pickup spot, and then they were less than 2 miles apart from each other. And I'm like, I hardly went any distance for like $27, but I'm guessing because one place was this really expensive tofu house and their bill was like really high, and then another place was a really expensive, it was Every Table, which is, they bought a lot of stuff and it was really expensive. So I'm guessing maybe they just tipped really high because they're tipping like 15-20%. You know, each of them, their orders were maybe like $60 or something. So if they're each tipping like 20, if they're each tipping, if it's like 60, I'm estimating because I don't really know. If they're each tipping like 60, how am I just supposed to say this? See, it's sprinkling again. If they're each tipping 20%, it would be like about $12 or so each. So like $24. Okay, I got another one. See, this is a Starbucks. 13 minutes, 1.4 miles, $6.60. And I'm accepting this one because this one makes more sense, but I don't know where it is. So it's inside that area. Ooh, I don't know how I'm going to get in there. I'm going to have to make a U-turn. Dang, I'm in the wrong lane. Anyways, I'm just going to take it slow. There's no reason to rush. But yeah, this one's $6 for almost 3 miles round trip, which makes a whole lot more sense. Like the other one was, dang, I need to be over there. I'm not going to be able to get over. People like to drive like right on you. You have to make a U-turn somewhere. But yeah, that's kind of the math that you really have to look at. Like it's not like the easiest thing to try to really estimate. Like trying to estimate how much you're spending. It's not really that simple. And especially when you're like on the road, like literally driving while you're trying to make these decisions. It's like, what the heck, it's not easy to just like make these types of decisions while you're still like technically driving. So I don't know how else to describe it. I don't really have like a method where I'm like, oh, this is the method you use what I said and it'll work. It's like, I just like to talk about it in case somebody else sees something that I'm not seeing. It's like, well, at least, you can maybe figure it out based on what I'm saying. But yeah, so basically my method is, I write down the mileage once I get to a place. Like I said, I wrote down the mileage of how much it was when I started driving, and now I'm writing down the mileage of once I get to the first restaurant, then the mileage to the drop-off. I usually write that stuff down. So, yeah, I'm usually just going to use that information. So it's not, I don't know, sometimes this stuff isn't really the easiest thing to try to explain to someone, but, because I don't really, like, there's no, like, guide about how to do this. Like, you kind of just do it, and then you learn. Like, there have been days where I'm like, okay, like, how come, like, you realize, like, you're not making any money sometimes. You're like, well, how come I was driving all day and I didn't, like, once you pay for the gas, you're like, that's basically how much I made. It's like, If you have a car like this that's really guzzling, like it would be different if I was driving like a Prius or something. It's like I would probably just take anything. But if you're driving a car where the mileage is bad, or you live in areas, or you're starting and driving in areas where, you know, they're just not ideal, like to me, I feel like the most ideal places to drive are the areas where you're gonna get more orders. If it's like residential to the T, like if you know the Rolling Hills area, if you're picking stuff up, like if you're dropping something off up there, like there's like a couple malls and shopping centers and stuff, but it's not like when you get down the hill, like San Pedro, Harbor City, Lomita, Carson, Gardena, Compton, like all those kind of areas just have, it's just like back to back to back, like stores, malls, like everything. Versus when you get up there, it's almost rural in a way. It's still city, but it's rural-ish. So it's really not ideal to even be up there, because you know you're not going to get any orders when you're there. You're only going to get them once you get down the hill. So you're literally having this balance between, like, do you accept or cancel orders, or do you just go up there, and then once you get up there, like sometimes you have to take pictures of the orders, and then like it's not loading that you delivered it because the you know, the connection up there doesn't really work so good. And then like the map apps don't always work so good. So sometimes you can't adequately find the houses, or you can't communicate with the people. It's not always like that, but there have been at least, I don't know, I'd say like a third of the times that I've gone up there, I've had issues with, and it might just be my phone, but I don't really have, there are dead zones, like over here by like Zamperini Way, like Zamperini Field, there's definitely some dead zones. There's some other dead zones in the area where I realize like, like, you know, it's losing signal, like the app's always kind of losing signal. I don't really think that's just my phone. Maybe, like, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't really know. But even if it is just my phone, there are certain areas where my phone does not catch what it needs to be catching all the time. And that makes it more complicated. Like, why are you going to make it more complicated on yourself? It's Uber. Like, it's not supposed to be like rocket science, you know? You're not, you know, it's not supposed to be like some super challenging thing. You're just picking stuff up and dropping it off, hoping to make a profit out of it. Like, but if you're not making a profit, what's the point? Like, why would you do it if you're not making a profit? Unless you're just volunteering and just doing it for the sake of, you know, you like delivering food to people, or not even seeing the people, but delivering to their doorsteps. It's like, there's not that much human interaction to where you could really say that it's always going to be worth it. But I don't know. I'm not perfect at it. I am a little greedy at it. I don't really want to make it, you know, into something where, you know, it's just not sustainable. But I kind of drove out of the way. I kind of drove like a mile or so out of the way. But I will get some of my little missed turn back. I'll get some of that missed turn money back because of the Prop 22 and because of the amount of time that adds up while I'm on this order. So while I'm in it, you know, there's some benefit to being like in it. But it's crazy. I'm over here all the time. I've never been to this Starbucks. Okay, I'm not gonna park there because there's way too many. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna park there. There's an area that like comes out of the what do you call it? The drive-through. Alright. So I'm gonna park here with my bad parking. It's just crazy. It's like, it's not even noon yet, and it's busy over here. But let me go in, get this one. I'm not taking it all that far. Yeah, it's estimating this should take me like till 12:07. So, all right. So I just added $20 of gas. So with the $6 I've made, well, in the 35-cent fee because of ARCO. So with the $20 I made yesterday, the $20 I just spent, I'm gonna need to make $26 to cover both today's and yesterday's gas. And here comes an order. Let's see what it says. It's like 0.4 miles for $2. We're just gonna take it because it's like not even half a mile. So it's gonna be about what the heck? It's gonna be about a mile from here. Let's see. I might need to figure out how I'm turning around here. I don't know if I wrote down the mileage. I think I did from the other house actually. So I think I don't know where I'm going. Where is this thing? Where is this place? Island? So I need to go up and left. Alright. I think I need to go. This map is just so confusing. Sometimes it's just kind of confusing. Like you have to be kind of like driving for it to actually even out for you. So I'm just basically going across the street and then dropping it who knows where. But so we're $2 out of 26. Turn right. It's not turn right though. It's go straight. So I gotta go straight. It's straight and then to the right. Dang, there's no parking? Okay, there's gonna be like a weird parking spot right there. It's only $2, so it can't be going far. It says 0.4 miles, so 0.4 miles from where I am, and then the place is across the street, so I don't even know where I'm going to. But yeah, I don't mind taking little orders if they're kind of worth it. This says it's about a mile from the last place. It might be about a mile, or maybe a little less than a mile. But I'm gonna estimate it as a mile. It's just down the street from where I just dropped something off, and then I went and got gas down the street from there. And so I'm just waiting for this light to change. But yeah, $2 isn't gonna be that much, but it's something. I'm still not at my hotspot area yet. That McDonald's that I canceled was on the way to the hotspot area. The Starbucks that I took was on the way, and then I realized, I'm gonna need more gas because the gas light came on at 24 instead of at what I estimated, which would have been like 33. So this gas is getting used. It also probably doesn't help that I sit with the car kind of like on sometimes. Like I kind of just sit with the car running sometimes. I'm pretty sure that burns. Some gas. But all right, let me get into this Hawaiian food spot, and this is a weird, funky parking angle. I gotta basically make a U-turn in the parking just to park. I don't like parking right next to people, because sometimes you have like a bunch of stuff and it gets hard to open the doors and it's like a whole ordeal. Straighten it out a little bit. Alright. So I'm gonna go get this dude. I'm gonna put the information in first. Alright, so we are really not that far along. That one had an issue. Restaurant was fine. I started driving. The map started glitching. This area, I can't really confirm if that's normal, but it happened. So I had to pull over and wait a little while. And then it looked like I lost the order. I had the order in my car while all this was happening. I thought I had memorized the address, which I thought was a certain number. I thought it was 07 instead of 02, but it was 02. So I'm glad I didn't just try to drop it at somebody's house, because I thought I had the address kind of memorized, at least the house number and the street number. But I probably would have dropped it at 237th Place instead of 237th Street, and I probably would have dropped it at a different ending number if I would have only followed my memory. Because I do look at them, but also if you only go by, so remember how I said when I start taking an order, I screenshot before I even accept it. Like once it's coming in, I screenshot it, then I accept it, and if I couldn't fully see what it said, once I pull over, I'll see if it's worth it, and then I'll either cancel it or I'll continue. So I had picked that one up when I was just talking about it. Had to confirm it inside the restaurant, because some restaurants make you confirm it before you leave. So you're confirming it in front of them so that they can't say, so that there's no mistake that says like, oh, like you, like, so that no one can blame the restaurant, basically saying like, oh, like the restaurant didn't give me the order or whatever. Like there's confirmation that they kind of like saw you do it, so you're not just taking the order blindly out to your car and then the restaurant's like depending on you to like follow through, because I'm guessing some of these places get penalized if there's drivers that like eat the food or just take the food, and then people are like, I never got my order from this restaurant, and they can say, oh, it was the restaurant, and then get a refund. And then like it's like, no, well, if you as the driver accept it, then it's only really going to matter if the order is accurate from that point. So as long as they accurately put this stuff in there in the bags, you're kind of good to go. But once I verified in the restaurant, I took it over to the car. I start driving down the street. It was directing me. Then all of a sudden, it stopped, and, the wheel of death and all that came up. And then after the wheel of death, I try to input the information on my Google Maps, and Google Maps wasn't loading. And I'm in an area right now that's a dead zone, like literally right where I'm driving right now, but I didn't know that area was a dead zone too. I usually don't go up that side of the street. I usually go to the gas station side of the street, but I don't usually go up that way on the other side of that major street. So as I'm driving to the house, my phone, as I'm driving to drop off this delivery to someone's house, my phone just isn't getting any reception. And the other apps aren't getting reception either. So I knew I still needed to drive a little farther down, and I saw 237th, and then it ended up being Place, and I was like, oh shoot. And then you know, the Uber Eats app wasn't even working. It was like when I logged back into it, it said that it was, what did it say? It was basically saying, and it's almost 1 o'clock. It's like 12:43. So once I get to my hotspot, I'm gonna start eating my lunch that I have leftover spaghetti that I had packed. So I'm gonna eat my leftover spaghetti. But yeah, I started driving, and it basically wasn't even registering that I was still in the process of delivering. So I hadn't delivered it yet. I didn't have the address completely accurate. I kept going a little bit forward and stopping in front of different houses just to see if it would catch, and then I pulled over. I tried to click the help button. That didn't really work. Nothing was really working because the app wasn't really working because I wasn't getting any kind of signal. And so that does happen. You might have signal issues. Some areas are just dead areas, and so you might get orders sometimes in these dead areas. And I'm looking directly up this hill area, and you can't even see the top of the hill. It's so foggy up there. So I'm glad that I'm just not going to take any orders up there today. I don't have the energy to really be doing that. I did it before, and it was really miserable. But yeah, it finally started working when I was on 237th Place. And then I was like, oh shoot, I'm on the wrong street. So I would say, you have to at least get to a place where you can use the help button. Because if you can't use that button, then I don't even know. Because I thought I had lost the order, and I was like, it's only $2, whatever. But I'm like, I literally have the food in my car. So I'm like, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll just take it back to the restaurant. Because it wasn't, the map was on, but it wasn't guiding me anywhere. It wasn't even, the app was on at one point, but it wasn't guiding me anymore. It wasn't navigating at all. It was it said searching for orders. And it's like, how are you searching for orders? I'm literally still delivering this one. And so I drove forward a little more, and it finally started working and started telling me where to go. But I was and then I saw that I had the address wrong in the first place from my memory. I was like, I would have put it in the wrong street, wrong address. And this poor person, I looked at the food in this place. This person ordered 2 entrees. Their cheapest entree was $13.99. And then they had average entrees up to $17.99, $19.99 or so. But that's not cheap. And here comes another one. 1.8 miles, $5.37. I'm gonna take it. If it's not up the hill, it's not up the hill, so accept. And where is it? What is the place? It's telling me to turn left. I also don't take the supermarket ones. This is a Chipotle. Chipotle takes forever. But I like it because they have a bathroom. So I'm going to take this Chipotle one. We're not going that far. We're going to make a profit off of this one too. So now we're $7 towards 26. But yeah, that's kind of how this game works. You just kind of have to have hotspots. This hotspot usually gets me a Wingstop. It usually gets me a Chipotle. It usually gets me a Starbucks. And there's this other Korean kind of place. And this other place that's in here. There's a bunch of places in here that I usually get. So I usually try to just stay in this area. The parking sucks, so you kind of got to know where to park. And then there's an In-N-Out too, so it's that doesn't help. Because because the Chipotle is not far from an In-N-Out, and so there's always In-N-Out. But sometimes I get Home Depot, sometimes I get Vons. I'm driving past Home Depot right now. The Home Depot and Vons area are dead zones, and so if you try to take an order, once you get in the store, you're having that same exact issue that I was saying. Not every store. I'm just saying this specific shopping center. If you take Home Depot or Vons, once you get inside the store, your phone doesn't work. So I don't know if it would even be worth having like a hotspot just to take like a couple extra orders. But I've lost a few orders in this area. There's a Chick-fil-A nearby. I almost always lose the Chick-fil-A orders because it's a dead zone on the road right near there. And so, I was on the road near there the other day, and I lost an order for like $14. I don't even know what it was. I think I screenshotted it though, so I could probably pull it up. But I try to screenshot all of them so that I can kind of go back and be like, okay, was I making good decisions? Was this a poor decision? That's how I kind of know in my mind. Like when I see one now, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm looking for. It took me a while to kind of know what I'm actually looking for, because at first I didn't really know what I was looking for. I was just like, let me take every order. And when I was just taking it, I don't know for sure about this, but I have an inkling that when you just take every order, it starts recognizing this person is just going to take anything. So they just give you anything, even if it's like upside down or whatever. And there were days where I was only getting like $2-3 orders, but they were far. Like these $2-3, $4-5 orders, if it's like 1 mile, 2 miles, it's like whatever. That's not a big deal, because even if it's a small profit, you're making some profit. And unless your app is like glitching and stuff, you're not really wasting that much time. They're all right near each other. I've been in the same, like, this whole time I've been on this phone, I've been in the same, like, 4 or 5 mile radius. Like, I have not really been that far. I'm just kind of talking while I drive and trying to keep it simple on myself. Just this shopping center sucks, man. It really sucks. The parking sucks really bad. People back in their cars, which is fine. I understand that. I can't tell if this guy's backing in. This other person is trying to get out, and I'm trying to take the spot they came out from. Oh, there's a car there. I thought I was just about to park. I'm gonna give this person a few seconds to park. I don't want to rush anybody. But yeah, sometimes you think you see a spot, and it's not even a spot. It's like a non-spot. It's like a motorcycle spot. And then I'll wait for her. She's got a big car. I'm gonna wait. Maybe I'll not wait. I'll park over here. Alright, good. There was no motorcycle. I couldn't see past a certain distance, so I couldn't tell if there was a motorcycle here or not. But I'm gonna go into this Chipotle, use the restroom first. They take forever. I'm gonna pick up the order, and then I'll be on the road. And I've got to write down the mileage of since I got here. So usually I post up in front of the Wingstop, but I was going towards the Wingstop and got this order for Chipotle, which is pretty common. I get Chipotle often. All right, now I got the Chipotle order. I first went to the bathroom first thing, because sometimes they're not even ready. Sometimes you can tell if you just walk by the counter and you don't see any bags already kind of like behind the counter. You can tell that yours isn't done because there's no bags at all. So but sometimes it's like, well, there's no real rush. It takes like 2 minutes to go to the bathroom, so I'm not like, you know, I don't usually need the bathroom like a lot. Like, I try to stay at a point where I'm not like in a desperate mode for the bathroom, but I'm also not so far from home to where I can't just drive home. But usually once I get home, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm not going to be coming back out driving, usually. And it is kind of out of the way. So I wouldn't really recommend necessarily being like, oh yeah, like, I got to go to the bathroom and, like, you know, like, I'm just going to go home every time. But if you are near home, it's like, whatever, you can just go to the bathroom. If you really can't find anything. But it kind of helps to stay close to home too, or close at least to areas that you recognize and know very well, so that you can basically, like, you know, like I was saying, like, you know, the dead zones, you know, the hot spots. Like, sometimes this hot spot shopping center might take me almost an hour to get an order. Like, not this current Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl before. Not this current Super Bowl, but that previous Super Bowl. It was you know, I thought, for some reason, I was gonna start getting orders at like 10 or something, because I was like, yeah, people are gonna be ordering. Dude, I was wrong. There was like nobody ordering that early because the game wasn't even on. And so now I've learned, if you want Super Bowl orders, you gotta deliver during Super Bowl. So you kind of gotta think about, you know, do you want to be watching the game, or do you want to be delivering during the game? But especially if you're delivering pizza, if you live near pizza spots, just post up near a pizza spot, man. Now, usually for restaurants and stores or whatever, you have to be near them. Like, that's one thing I've noticed. You usually have to be, like, I don't remember ever being sent more than, like, maybe a couple lights away. Maybe three to four lights max away from where you're currently at to be picking something up. I'm trying to think, what's the longest distance I've driven just cold without an order already in the works? I don't think, I mean, and that's kind of the problem, right? Because it's like, they're not going to send you far to pick something up. Usually they're going to send you far to deliver it, maybe, but they usually won't send you far to pick something up. Like, I've never had something that was like driving like 8 miles out of the way to go pick something up. And if you do drive far, I don't know, I just don't remember having anything like that, honestly. I'm trying to think if I have, but I don't remember ever having that. And I don't remember ever not getting the tip that they say that you're going to get. If anything, you'll get more. Some people, they don't tip. That's pretty normal, unfortunately. But like that $2.61 that I took, it's like, they didn't tip, but it's like, you know, 0.4 miles away. Like, literally, I was at the gas station and drove across the street. And if it wasn't for the map glitching, I don't think they even lived like 2 city blocks down, or 3 city blocks down from where the restaurant was. Like, it really wasn't that out of the way. Let me see. There's something I don't like. I can't remember if I've talked about it before, but you don't really get your money right away. So the money that I'm making as it's coming in, I kind of have these little times. I kind of have these little times where I'm like, you know, waiting on an order. I mean, I'm waiting on the money to come in. The reason why I say it's not necessarily good is because if you want to cash out the money, you're paying like $1.25 to cash out every time. I may have said $1.50 before. It's actually $1.25 to cash out. So every time you cash out, you're losing $1.25 just to cash out your money. And then if you're say if you have an order like the one I had yesterday that was $27, they're not gonna give you the 27 outright. You know, they'll give you whatever the portion of it. I don't know if they give you the tip first or what, but they give you some of it first. Maybe they give you the delivery fee first, but they give you a portion first. And then it seems to be like within like an hour or even like by the end of that day, you get the rest of the money. And so, you know, if you're depending on that money right away, like if you're just like, I need to go drive, if you're in a position where like, I need to go make $10, you take two $5 orders back to back and they're, you know, just to keep the math simple, if you take those orders right away, you're not going to get that $10 right away. So you're going to be waiting for a while to get that $10 for your gas. And so it kind of helps to not, it helps to not need that money right away, because you're only going to get a portion of it at a time. I don't know exactly what that number is that you're getting. I don't know if it's the tip or the delivery fee or something. And then sometimes you might get extra tips. You'll get those extra tips afterwards. And so it's really not, you know, it's not like, you know, it's you can lose money, basically. You can lose a lot of money if you're not smart with it, you know. It cuts into your profit. Like yesterday, I think I withdrew 3 times. That was already like $3.75 that I lost, you know, just from withdrawing the money. And it's like, and then you have to consider gas, like I said, you know. And so, yeah, you're not really always making a whole lot. You're not really making a whole lot all at once. But I'm trying to find this house. These places are hard to find. 2513. All right, so let me drop this off. Alrighty. So I dropped off Chipotle. It's 1:24 p.m. I took a break from when I dropped it off at 1:08 p.m. till about now at 1:24 p.m. I had the app paused. Oh, I thought I had hit resume. I guess I didn't. It says request paused. I'm trying to unpause it. It might not work because I'm literally sitting in the dead spot in the parking lot that I said. In the Vaughn's parking lot. So I'm going to actually move. Couldn't resume request. Try again. So I'm going to move the car. Alright, so I had a little charge going there. Charging the car up. Gonna move the car over. And one thing that I guess I'm trying to hit all the little nooks and crannies of this kind of stuff, of the process of Uber Eats. One little thing is that you might want to bring a charger with you, a car charger, or some kind of portable charger at least. My battery's running out because I'm also recording and driving, but usually when I'm not recording, I have my phone plugged in while I'm driving a lot of the time. I don't know if it's like 100% of the time, but just definitely a lot of the time. I'm still trying to resume, kind of in a dead zone still. I park places. I know, let me see, there are places that I park that usually have shade from trees. Today is a very cloudy day, so that's not really going to matter all that much. So that's one nice thing about when it does rain, or when the weather is cloudy. I mean, I'm in Southern California, so if you're inside of a car, for the most part, with the exception of a little small portion of the year, you're usually going to be okay. As long as your windows are up, you're usually going to be all right. So, yeah, it's still having trouble resuming, so I might actually have to close out the app, then open it again. Yesterday I noticed that it had registered me as being online for longer than I was. I'm wondering if today that's going to happen again. I'm having trouble going online. This happens though. This isn't out of the norm. There are issues with the apps loading and stuff. This is not at all out of the norm. It just takes some time. Sometimes it can take like 5 minutes. This entire parking lot, I've noticed, it's kind of easy to come upon issues with reception and things. But it kind of happens almost everywhere. So I'm just waiting. But yeah, you probably want a charger, because this app, because it's using GPS, it takes so much, and it's using data usually too. It's taking so much. Okay, that sound usually means I'm logged in. Let's see. I heard the little noise. Nope, it doesn't want to go. It says going online. Is it gonna let me online? I don't know if it's gonna let me online. I haven't made that much money today yet. Who knows if I will. Sometimes you have to wait all the way till the end of the day to see what happens as far as tips and things. But let me see how much hasn't processed yet. It looks like 6, 11, 12. Let me see. I'm trying to count. 13. 13 is 97. I should have 1317, I think. And I think, according to this app, the amount of money that's processed so far is 1217. So there must be like $1 tip or $1 in there somewhere that I haven't gotten yet. This still isn't. It's still not letting me go online. There's not much that I can do. I just have to take the app out of, just kind of close it completely out. Sometimes I have to go back and forth between, airplane mode and turn off airplane mode. And then, worst case scenario, I have to turn my phone off. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I say resume, request paused, you're online. So am I paused or online? It looks like I'm online. Now these hotspot areas, I usually screenshot them every so often. And I have definitely noticed, now I don't know if other people have this issue, and I'm curious to know, because I talked about it before. This one Lyft driver told me that you never get they're never going to tell you they're never going to tell you to like they're never going to give you the information right next to you, unless you really literally live like in a hotspot area. But I've noticed almost without fail, probably like over 95% of the time, whenever I screenshot this app, unless I'm completely like 10 miles or so away from my house, it almost never shows that there's anything within a very close by radius to me. Every so often, there'll be little hot spots that pop up that are near me. But even the ones that I get that are like right near where I live, right near the house, like across the street, like a block away or whatever, even those areas are almost never lit up as hot spots, and they might not be hot spots, but all the hot spots seem to be like a 10-mile radius out of the way from my house. But literally when I post up at a hot spot area that I know that's near like a couple miles from my house, I'm consistently getting orders, even though it doesn't often show that that area is a hot spot. And you know, like I mentioned, this area where there's like a Chipotle and all this other stuff. I get most of my orders. Like I usually just leave the house and come straight to this area. Like I don't even know how else to do it. And then like if I get something along the way, like today, I got all my orders on my way to posting up in front of this Wingstop. Um, I canceled the McDonald's one, but that was the first one. I took the Starbucks one while I was trying to go towards the hotspot. I took an island one when I was getting gas, like it's like an island Hawaiian place. Um, I took that one when I was down the street from the Starbucks getting where I had delivered the Starbucks. I knew there was a gas station down the street, so I went to that gas station and then got that Hawaiian place one. And then after I had dropped that one off with the glitchy situation going on there, I dropped it off, and then I um started still coming towards this hotspot Wingstop, and on the way in the plaza towards the Wingstop, I got a Chipotle. Now this Wingstop, I usually get orders from this Wingstop. I usually get orders from the Chipotle as well. Um, but it's very rare to sit here for more than 90 minutes and not get any orders. Now sometimes I try and get orders um and drive around, but because this car has such terrible gas mileage, I don't think that's usually wise, cuz I think there's like, I don't know if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but every 5 or 10 minutes or so the hotspot map repopulates, and sometimes by the time you get to the place where it says there were a lot of orders coming in, that spot is no longer on the hotspot map, and you might not get any orders from there. So it does help to kind of know your area, know the spots that are going to give you orders often. There's usually going to be cheap spots. McDonald's and Starbucks usually have a lot of orders. I don't like McDonald's because they take forever. But there have been times on weekend brunch mornings, I've gone to the same McDonald's just back to back like 3 times, because you're not delivering it too far sometimes, and then they just you keep driving towards it, and then they just send you back in there, and you're just picking up a bunch of stuff back to back. But it kind of just helps to learn your area. If you live in an area that has stuff, that's kind of what I would recommend, is learn your local area, even if it is going to tell you that there's no spots nearby you at all. Because where I live, there are plenty of restaurants. There's malls, there's restaurants. There are, like, oftentimes I'm not even delivering to people's houses. Like, there are so many times that I'm delivering not even to a house. I'm delivering to not to a house. I'm delivering to somebody's, um, place of business, like where they work. I deliver to people while they're working. Offices, doctors' offices. Uh, I'd say the worst places to deliver to are hospitals. Um, like major hospitals, because a lot of times, well, it kind of might depend on the place, but the ones near me have terrible parking. Um, and it's really hard to find people. And then sometimes it's like there's security checks, and you can't just park anywhere. Um, there's one place where I had to park in this like downstairs garage, and it's like there are some places, or there are some residential areas that are just so jam packed with cars that if the person's not waiting outside, you're really gonna have a hard time. I had a hard one yesterday where I was like circling the block. I think I kind of hit somebody's mirror with my mirror. It was one of these streets where like the cars are parked on both sides, but you could barely fit two cars down the middle of the road, and everybody's like trying to look for parking, and people are parked where they shouldn't be parked. They're like double parked, where they shouldn't be parked, and you're kind of just waiting. These kind of things suck, and you're just like, ugh. And I actually saw the lady waiting outside, but it was under a guy's name, Arthur or something like that. And I see the lady waiting outside, and I'm like, well, that might not be her. But by the time I circled the block again, um, by the time I went and circled the block again, um, she was outside still. So I just kind of out the window was like, hey, like, do you have an Uber Eats for Arthur? And she's like, yeah. And so I'm like, cool. Um, and I mean, it went through because it had to have a PIN code, but um, usually I wouldn't ask because I'm like, this person doesn't look like that would maybe be their name. And they also said to leave it at the door. I wasn't going to meet outside. So I'm like, if I'm not meeting you outside, but I didn't know she was actually outside. And so I assumed maybe she's waiting for someone else because there were people out everywhere. So, that's kind of risky. You could, who's gonna, like, some people aren't gonna be like, no, it's not mine. They'll just say yes to anything, and then you like give them a meal. And then like with the PIN code too, if somebody doesn't give you the PIN, like you can actually bypass that and just say like I didn't have access to the PIN or whatever. And then like I've never had any issues with it, but it's like if somebody doesn't give you the PIN, then you know I've never been I've never had an issue with that. It's telling me right now, it's saying earn 40 more points to meet the following criteria to unlock gold rewards. I think my cancellation rate is probably going to be too high to meet that goal. So I'd have to have a better rate with the cancellations. But the rewards you can get if you do get that Uber Eats Pro Green, you get up to 25 cents off per gallon with Upside. So you'd have to get this other thing called Upside, where there's a new user reward of 40 cents per gallon. You'd have to download the free Upside app. Use your promo code Uber40 for an extra 40 cents per gallon on your first 2 fill-ups with Upside. And then it has a couple asterisks that says for limited time only, first time users of the app only, and it's only with the fill-ups. And it says existing Upside users enjoy 10 cents a gallon bonus on your next fill up. So it's again fill up. And all Uber drivers get 10% cashback bonus on their next food purchase if you use the Upside apps with a minimum of a $10 purchase. So there are, like, yeah, it sounds like it's a good deal, but it's like if you're not filling your tank twice, you're not really getting that promo. Like 25 cents off per gallon of a full tank, of 2 full tanks. You can also get up to 7 cents off per gallon with the fuel rewards program at Shell. There's conditions to that. 20% off roadside assistance. There's probably conditions to that. 50%, up to 50% off of TurboTax, which could be good, but let's see what it says with the conditions, how it works. U.S. drivers are eligible for saving up to 50% on TurboTax products. Up to, it doesn't mean you're saving 50%, it means you're saving up to, like max 50%. And that's, I have no network connection again. The offer's available through Halloween of 2025. And it says additional terms may apply. Uber is not responsible for third-party offers. Percent. So I don't know. Import your Uber tax summary into TurboTax to help uncover rideshare specific deductions and maximize your deductions. So I don't know if it works for the rest of your taxes if you have other stuff that's not Uber. I really just don't know. I don't know. You can get cash back on gas and EV charging with the Uber Pro card. You can save up to 25% at Revel charging stations. But I mean, all this stuff is like, you can get 100% tuition coverage at ASU Online if you get 100 points for gold rewards. I don't know how long you have to take to be able to get this. I don't know if it's within a month. Excuse me, because today's the last day of March of 2025. For you or a family member, after scholarships or grants, the tuition costs to ASU Online will be covered. Earn credits toward an undergraduate degree, so it has to be undergrad. It says they have 80 plus ASU Online degree programs with multiple start dates. Classes are 100% online. Students will have a success coach to support them through the program. Improve your English skills, 8-week course for building your reading, writing, and vocabulary skills. Get ahead with business courses. Now, I don't know. This just seems a little odd. Like I don't know. I get a little skeptical with rewards programs because I've started to notice that, a lot of these rewards type of systems are a little bit too good to be true. They're usually not as amazing as what they say. They're usually not totally giving you like every single thing that they say that they're gonna give to you. Usually there's some kind of conditions, but yeah, this extra 20 something minutes or so that I'm spending is kind of a waste of time. I might log off for the day because I am kind of getting a little slightly tired. I might just kind of log off, but yeah, sometimes lunch does it to me. I still have my my, what do you call it, my Red Bull from yesterday. Kind of sipped on that a little bit. But I don't know. I hope you guys have liked this episode. Let's see. I've Today, been online from about 11 to, we'll call it 1:08. From about 11 o'clock to 1:08. Um, let's see. The total that I've driven is about 9 miles. About 9 miles from home. Total, with all the driving around I did. I've only driven about 9 miles since I dropped off that Chipotle. And then hours, it's been maybe... I got offline around 1:08, which was about the time that I dropped that one off, and it's 1:48 right now, p.m. But yeah, I was only really driving for about 2 hours or so, and made, it should be like 13.17. Declined a $5 order that was upside down. So made 13.17 of the 26.35 I've spent on gas in the last couple days. I should have quite a long ways on that amount of gas. Should have about 4.7 miles worth of that gas used. So I should have about 35 or so miles at least before it runs out with this terrible gas mileage. So as long as I keep the orders nearby or only take high paying orders, it's usually going to be good to go. In this area, I've kind of noticed peak hours. I try to turn on the app before 11 p.m. Not always. Like today, I wasn't really fully able to do that. But to me, I feel like before 11, did I say p.m.? Sorry. If I said p.m., I meant a.m. But 10:45 a.m. or 10:30 a.m., and then I'm kind of like getting ready to get out of the house, meaning that I'm like heating up something for lunch that I wrap in foil that I take with me, some snacks, something with some caffeine in it, a few waters, hand sanitizer. I would say carry with you hand sanitizer if you're in an area where you need sunscreen. Carry sunscreen. Carry like all this is just in your car. You don't have to like carry it on your person. Toilet paper. Just things that are like you can't really fully depend all the time on. Like yesterday I went to a McDonald's that had no soap, no toilet paper. I mean, they had you can technically still use those seat covers as toilet paper if they're like in good shape and everything, and they had enough of them that didn't look like damaged. And maybe that's TMI, but it's like it still works. But it's like they had 2 stalls, neither had toilet paper. They had no hand soap in the bathroom. It's like I'll wash my hands as much as I can wash my hands, but I keep hand sanitizer in the car. When I do park to eat my lunch, I have hand sanitizer that I use that's in the car. I usually bring a backpack with stuff to work on. So I have like my, what do you call that? My planner on me usually. And I usually bring, maybe if I have paperwork or some little things I have to do, like, updating a card or something. Like I had to do that yesterday. Excuse me, because one of my debit cards expired, and so I had to, activate a new debit card. Just little things that are like, okay, like while you're sitting waiting, you can kind of do that kind of stuff if you do get to a point like right now, how I've been like almost 40 minutes with no orders, and I've already logged off, but 40 minutes with no orders. But for 2 hours of working, kind of being on the road and having orders back to back, when with about 9 miles total driven, I've made $13.17. Now Thursday is going to be the Prop 22. Like I mentioned, it says you make 120% of the city's minimum wage of, I don't remember if it's where you drop off or where you pick up, but the information is in there. And that's another thing that I've noticed. And this might just be me and my conspiracy theory self, but that's another thing that I've noticed. You know, sometimes you look at these sites. I mean, sometimes you look at the map for the hotspots, and usually it's the areas that are maybe lower income areas of the city that seem to be having the majority of hotspots there. Now, I don't really know if that's strategic, because I know for you know, I think, is it 16.50 that's minimum wage here? But there are areas that it's kind of, I think different areas do have different minimum wage technically. It might be like 50 cents different, $1 different, like in certain places. But if I was already working 2 hours, I should have made, let me see, that's $30 to $33. So $33 minus $13 and something cents. I should get back about 20 on Thursday from today. Now, that's not counting the partial mileage reimbursement of the 9 miles that I drove. Sunday, I drove way more miles. I was online. Let's see how long it says I was actually online today. Let's see how long it registered me being online. If I go to earnings. Yeah, it says I was online 2 hours, 45 minutes. But with the drive time, now it's saying I was active 59 minutes, 24 seconds. Which I don't know how that's true, because I was active pretty much back to back. I don't think there's an hour difference. I was probably offline for like 40 minutes or so, or 20 minutes or so. So I don't really know if that's accurate that I was online totally for 2 hours, 45 minutes. I think I was on, well, I guess if they count that I had the app paused, then yeah, that's pretty accurate that I was online for about 2 hours, 45 minutes. That's pretty accurate if they're counting when I had the app paused. But for it to say that I was active 59 minutes in process of orders, I mean, I don't think I took a total of an hour of times between orders and times between, like, when I got gas. There's no way I took an hour. I didn't have that many orders either, so I don't think that's accurate. If I look at the details, let me see. You can see the earnings activity. You can see where you were. It says that the first one, okay, so I still have a tip processing from the first one from today. So it's saying the first one was 21 minutes. It was at 12:45. So, I'm going backwards. Sorry. So after I canceled that McDonald's one at 11:26, while I was still talking to you guys, I got another one at 11:41. So that's almost, give or take, about 20 minutes where I didn't have an order in the process. It took me 21 minutes 39 seconds to do that. 2.82 miles for $6.60. They gave a $4 tip. The next one, it's saying I didn't get the next order until 12:20 p.m. So I'm wondering how accurate that is, because that's like a 40-minute gap. I don't think it took me 40 minutes. Because if it took me 20 minutes to take the delivery, I don't think there were, maybe there were 20 minutes at the gas station. That just seems a little long. I don't feel like I was there that long. I think I was there maybe 10 minutes. I don't think 20. But I don't know. I can't argue with an app. And then 16 minutes, 19 seconds to do that one that was 0.73 miles total for $2.20. The one where the app glitched. And then from there, the Chipotle was the last one. That was $12.45. That one has a tip still processing, which should be $1 tip unless they change it. It was 21 minutes 31 seconds for 2.25 miles. But yeah, as you can see how far the distance is with the miles. You kind of want to double that. Sometimes you want to double it. Because that's pretty much your distance. Because the whole time I've been trying to stay near this hotspot area. And so I like to double it, because when you double it, it kind of shows you like, okay, if I keep driving back to this hotspot, I'm going basically out from one area and then coming back to the same area all the time. I try not to let it take me, because if you just let this thing take you all over town sometimes, it will take you, this thing, from where I live, it tries to take me downtown, it tries to take me to Santa Monica. I'm like, really? Somebody really wants their Wiener Schnitzel from here, and they want me to spend an hour driving their 2 hot dogs and a fries all the way across LA, and then come all the way back for another hour for like $20. But I don't really think it's fully accurate sometimes on the time that it says you're online. That's something that I am noticing as well, that I'm like, it kind of calculates, I think, from the time you pick it up to the time you drop it off, or from the time you're on your way to pick it up to the time that you do pick it up and then drop it off. But all the stuff in between, they don't really consider. And so you can be online, but then there are these chunks of time. And I guess because I canceled the other one, they're not even considering the fact that I had an order come in at 11:26 a.m. They're not even considering that fact. They don't even want to consider that happened. They're just like, no, you started at 11:41. So yeah, I did lose like 20 minutes or so on that. Because I did pull over and park. And I was talking, so it did take me a little bit longer. But, because I was driving slower than usual. And I think I said this, I input the mileage between everything. So, what would be wise, which is not something that I do all the time, is to go enter all this. You need to have a driving log. Now, it'll get taken out of your taxes, I think. It gets applied to your taxes. I think Uber Eats does it, but I would recommend doing it yourself too. I think you can do that. Your log is going to be probably more accurate because you have access to your actual literal mileage in your car. So that's why I'm always taking notes on, what's the mileage at here? What's it at there? And like, how much am I spending on gas and all that? Because all that kind of stuff is going to add up for you in the end too. And any other maintenance, like if you're refilling fluids, if there's something about your car that you have to pay for to be able to do this, like car insurance once a month, you're going to have to pay that. You're going to have to pay, I don't know, you're usually paying car insurance, you're usually paying gas, you're usually paying any other kind of maintenance. Um, so, and this car is probably going to have to go in for maintenance. It's going to be April tomorrow. Probably in June. That'll be 6 months from January where it was last looked at. June, July, I'm going to have to take it in. I try to take it in every like 6 months or so. So June, July, I'll take it back in. But yeah, no, it's not really something that you want to waste too much money on. You don't want to waste too much money driving. You don't want to waste too much money on maintenance. At a certain point, once traffic starts picking up in my area, there's school traffic, there's the 5 o'clock rush hour traffic that is now 4 o'clock rush hour traffic. I try not to really get caught up in all that because it's just taking way more time for you. It's harder to park, it's harder to drive. If you miss an exit or you miss a turn, you're going to end up going all the way back around in traffic. And all that you have to consider with traffic is just way too much. It might not be worth the energy, in all honesty, at the end of the day. Sometimes you're just like, I don't want to do this. Oh, but yeah, I did not sleep that good. And after I ate lunch, I do have this Red Bull that I'm sipping, but I'm like, it's not kicking in. So I might just leave it till tomorrow when I'm more fresh, because I have other stuff I need to do today too. I can't be spending all day dealing with Ubering, so I don't want to waste all my energy. But that's it. Hopefully you guys liked this double episode. I hope it helps for people who are starting with Ubering. That's kind of my 2 cents on it all. I've been doing it for a bit. It's taking me a while to get to this point to where I kind of have a bit of a system down. You will get bad, like a bad score if you do keep canceling stuff, but to me it's more worth it. I'd rather cancel stuff and get a bad score than be spending too much money on orders. And if you keep taking the orders that are bad orders, they keep giving them to you. I've noticed they don't give you profitable orders if you keep taking the non-profitable ones. The ones where you're either going to break even or end up coming couple extra bucks out of pocket, they don't give those to you. But they're logging that I've only worked for 1 hour today. But still, even if that's the case, I should be getting back about it should be like 19, so I should be getting back about $7 minimum. I usually would say turn on your app before 11. I do think that I do get more orders when I turn it on before 11. I almost always get an order by 11:30. And I say before 11 because I've noticed that even when it's like near 11 and not like quite before 11, if it's like near 11, that seems to be almost good enough, in all honesty. Versus I've noticed if I wait till like 11:15, I'm usually not getting an order until like closer to 12. But it also just depends on the day. Some of the stuff is just not at all predictable. You can't really predict what's going to happen or what the app is going to do or what it's going to give you. Like yesterday, like I said, that $27 order, sometimes it depends on the places because they're really expensive places with the people who do tip. If they are tipping you 15 to 20% and they're spending like $60, you're going to get good tips. But some people won't tip you anything. And then some people will tip you based on what they're paying total. Or some people give you like $1. Some people give you like $3. I've noticed for the most part, $1 to $3 is pretty normal. I had a Bevmo delivery once that gave me like a $20 tip. There was a lot of carrying stuff back and forth of like I think they had like 4 or so boxes of wines. They looked like they were about to have a party. And it took me a while to find the place, but they were very patient, so I was very grateful that they weren't like why aren't you here, like bleh, you know, like they kind of were just chill. But yeah, Ubering's not super always fun, but it's not the worst. You just have to keep track of what you're doing, because if you don't keep track, you can feel like you're making a lot of money every day and then not be making a lot of money. And then I'm still trying to estimate what the Prop 22 is, because there have been times where I did one order within that 2-week period of time and I got like $20 back. And I'm like, I know I wasn't even like driving for like 2 hours or 1 hour even. So I don't even know how they calculated that I should have gotten 20 something dollars or like near $20. And then there are times where I've gotten nothing for the Prop 22. And then there are times where I've gotten like $8, $7. There are times where I've gotten like $80, $90, you know. And I never really tried to calculate it, but that's what I'm trying to calculate lately. That's kind of my next phase, is like, let me try to calculate. But I'm learning now that like they don't really consider the hours that I'm actually actively online the same as I consider. I think we're pretty even on the numbers where we can say the app was turned on, but I don't think we're very even on where they say I was active online. I think there's some time missing there that they're not really accounting for, or that I'm counting that they're not counting, and I don't really know what that number is. But yeah, guys, I don't know. It's one way to make cash, but as you can see, it's very time consuming, and then you really have to wait for that Prop 22 payout to really see what your profits are going to be, because sometimes you're not making those profits like on the day of, and even if you are, sometimes it's not like right within like that minute when the funds post. Sometimes there's like a longer period of time between. So I don't know, like that's just what I'm noticing. I don't really think there's a true way of telling, you know. Sometimes I'm like but I do try to compare what I think to what they are saying, because I think it does help to kind of know. But alright, I'm gonna actually end this one, but thanks for listening.